High Commander Vexterra scrolled through the sensor readings for the 12th time, her iridescent scales shifting from deep blue to a troubled green. The massive fleet before her shouldn't exist. According to every historical record, the humans had vanished centuries ago, yet here floated over 300 of their warships, perfectly preserved in the void between the spiral arms of the galaxy. Status report, she commanded, her inner eyelids flickering with anticipation. First Officer Kizin manipulated the holographic controls with his 4 upper appendages. Ships appear to be completely powered down, Commander. No life signs detected. Temperature readings near absolute zero. Design matches historical records of human vessels circa 2450 CE, designated as Aegis-class battlecruisers. He paused, mandibles clicking in amusement. Rather primitive by current standards. The bridge crew of the stellar archaeology vessel Truthseeker shared a collective moment of mirth. Human technology had always been a source of fascination and mild derision among the Galactic Concordat. Their reliance on physical projectiles, chemical propulsion, and crude armor plating seemed almost childlike compared to the quantum phase drives and neutron flux shields of modern vessels. Prepare a boarding party, Vexterra ordered. Full containment protocols. I want every ship cataloged and studied. This is the largest preserved human fleet ever discovered. As the boarding shuttles approached the nearest battlecruiser, Vexterra couldn't shake a creeping sense of unease. The human ships hung in perfect formation, their dark hulls absorbing nearby starlight. Unlike most derelict vessels they'd studied, these showed no signs of damage or decay. They looked ready. Commander, Kizin's voice carried an unfamiliar note of alarm. Energy spike detected within the human vessel. Before Vexterra could respond, a soft blue glow emerged from recessed panels along the battlecruiser's hull. Symbols appeared, English letters, the long-dead human language, scrolling across the surface in electric blue. AEGS Defense System. Active. Kiroximity ALEART. Linityyat in Higar Otoki Ravens Boaki. Recall the boarding parties immediately, Vexterra ordered, but it was too late. A ripple of energy pulsed outward from the human ship, washing over their shuttles. Instead of the expected destructive force, the pulse carried data, terabytes of information flooding their systems. Message incoming, Kizin reported, his scales now a pale yellow of confusion. It's being transmitted in modern Concordat standard protocol. Impossible. These ships are centuries old. The message appeared on their main viewing screen, crisp and clear. To the citizens of the Galactic Concordat. Your presence has been noted. Protocol Raven's Wake is now in effect. Stand by for revival of Human Expeditionary Force Alpha. This is not an automated message. Admiral Sarah Chen, Earth Defense Force. Revival. Vexterra whispered. The word hung in the recycled air of the bridge like a physical thing. Deep within the fleet of abandoned warships, thousands of cryopods began their warming sequence. In perfectly maintained chambers, human hearts started to beat for the first time in centuries. They had slept, waited, and adapted. The humans hadn't vanished. They had planned. As the first life signs began appearing on their sensors, Vexterra realized with mounting awe that every assumption about human technology had been wrong. These weren't primitive vessels. They were wolves in sheep's clothing. The seemingly crude armor was layered with quantum processors. The chemical engines concealed drives that defied their understanding. Most importantly, the empty ships had never been abandoned. Commander, Kizin's voice was barely a whisper. I'm detecting thousands of human life signs. They're waking up. Vexterra watched as lights began to flicker on throughout the fleet. The humans had hidden themselves away, yet somehow kept pace with galactic technological advancement. They had turned their entire fleet into a chrysalis, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Send a message to Concordat High Command, she ordered, her scales now shifting to the white of revelation. Tell them, Tell them we were wrong about everything. The humans didn't vanish. They were preparing. As if in response to her words, more ships began to power up, their primitive hulls coming alive with energy signatures that put modern vessels to shame. The Ghost Fleet was awakening, and with it, humanity's true legacy was about to be revealed. The galaxy had mocked the abandoned warships. Now, those same warships were about to change everything. Admiral Sarah Chen stretched, her muscles adjusting to movement after centuries of stasis. The cryo chamber's display showed all systems nominal. The gambit had worked. Around her, in the command center of the EDF Hyperion, her bridge crew was going through their own revival protocols. 300 years of hibernation, yet they felt as fresh as a night's sleep. "Status report," she called out, her voice strong despite its long disuse. All ships reporting successful revival sequences. "Admiral," Lieutenant Rodriguez answered, fingers dancing across controls that had been maintained by quantum-linked nanites during their long sleep. "Crew survival rate at 99.8%. The Raven's wake protocol executed perfectly." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. When humanity had discovered the approaching threat 3 centuries ago, they'd faced an impossible choice: fight a war they couldn't win, or evolve into something that could. The galaxy had watched them seemingly retreat, abandon their worlds, and disappear. In reality, they had been transforming. "Ma'am," Rodriguez continued, "we're being hailed by the Concordat vessel. Their commander seems unsettled." "I imagine they are," Sarah replied. "Put them through." Commander Vexterra's image appeared on the main screen, her scales shifting through patterns of confusion and awe. "Admiral Chen." We had no idea. The historical records were exactly what we wanted them to be. Sarah finished. "Commander, I appreciate this must be overwhelming, but we have little time. Is the Concordat still the primary governing body of the galaxy?" "Yes, but..." "And the Void Cascade? Has it reached populated space yet?" Vexterra's scales paled. "How do you know about that?" "We only detected the first signs 3 years ago." Sarah's expression hardened. "Because we saw it coming 300 years ago. That's why we're here." She turned to her crew. "Show them." Lieutenant Rodriguez activated the Hyperion's primary display systems. The seemingly crude screens transformed, revealing holographic projections far beyond current Concordat technology. A map of the galaxy appeared, with a creeping darkness approaching from the outer rim. "The Void Cascade isn't a natural phenomenon," Sarah explained. "It's a weapon, deployed by something that doesn't want competition in this galaxy. We discovered its signature in 2450, but we weren't strong enough to fight it. Not then." Vexterra's scientific mind began putting the pieces together. The hibernation, the hidden technology. "We needed time," Sarah confirmed. "Time to advance our technology beyond what anyone would expect. Time to prepare countermeasures. The entire fleet, every ship, every weapon, every crew member, has been evolving during our sleep. The nanites that maintained our ships also enhanced them, and us." As if to demonstrate, Sarah raised her hand. Her skin briefly became translucent, revealing circuits of light running through her body. "We're not the same humans who disappeared centuries ago, Commander. We're what humanity had to become to save everyone." Vexterra's scales shifted to deep purple, the color of revelation. The primitive technology. It was all a disguise. "Partially," Sarah smiled. "Those railguns your sensors detected, they don't fire metal projectiles. They fire singularities. The chemical engines, quantum fold drives wrapped in nostalgia. We needed anyone who found us to underestimate us, right until the moment we were ready." A new alert sounded throughout both ships. At the edge of their sensor range, space itself seemed to darken. And now, Sarah's voice carried the weight of centuries of preparation. "We're about to show you why we went to all this trouble. The Void Cascade just arrived, right on schedule." The primitive human fleet began to move, their formation shifting with impossible precision. Panels opened along their hulls, revealing weapons that hadn't existed in the galaxy's understanding of physics until moments ago. Commander Vexterra. Sarah's voice was both diplomatic and commanding. I'm offering you a choice. You can retreat to safe space and warn the Concordat about what's coming, or you can stay and witness firsthand why humanity chose to sleep for 3 centuries. Either way, the real war for this galaxy begins now. Vexterra looked at her own crew, then back at the human admiral who had orchestrated a plan spanning centuries. Her scales settled on the deep red of determination. We'll stay, Admiral. The Concordat should see what humanity has become. Sarah nodded, respect evident in her expression. Lieutenant Rodriguez, signal the fleet. Initiative Lazarus is now active. It's time to show the galaxy why you should never judge a sleeping giant. As the Void Cascade approached, 300 ships of humanity's hidden fleet powered up their true weapons. The deception was over. The chrysalis had opened, and the galaxy was about to learn why humanity had really disappeared all those years ago. The Void Cascade approached like a wave of absolute darkness, devouring light itself. Commander Vexterra's sensors struggled to analyze something that seemed to defy the laws of physics, but while her crew watched in mounting horror, Admiral Chen's expression showed only grim determination. All ships, execute pattern oracle. Sarah commanded. Initiate quantum wake protocols. The human fleet's response was unlike anything Vexterra had ever witnessed. The ship's supposedly primitive hulls began to shimmer, layers of armor peeling away to reveal crystalline structures underneath. Each vessel now pulsed with internal light that seemed to bend reality around them. What you're seeing, Commander, Sarah explained, her own body gleaming with the same internal luminescence, is the result of 3 centuries of quantum evolution. While we slept, our ships and bodies were rewritten at the atomic level. The Void Cascade struck the first line of human vessels. But instead of being consumed, the ships appeared to absorb the darkness, their crystalline structures glowing brighter. Lieutenant Rodriguez, demonstrate our first countermeasure. The human fleet moved in perfect synchronization, their formations creating geometric patterns that seemed to twist space itself. From their hulls emerged what looked like traditional missile launchers, until they fired. Those aren't missiles, Vexterra whispered, her scales shifting to pure white in astonishment. Each projectile split into thousands of smaller points of light, forming networks of energy that began to push back against the darkness. Quantum entangled light seeds, Sarah said. Each one creates a pocket of stable spacetime. The Void Cascade works by unraveling reality itself. We learn to weave it back together. The battle unfolded like a dance of light against darkness. Human ships moved with impossible precision, their crews operating as single organisms thanks to their enhanced biology. Where the void touched them, they didn't just resist, they transformed it. Commander, Kizin reported, his voice shaking, I'm detecting energy signatures that shouldn't be possible. The human ships aren't just fighting the void, they're converting it. Sarah nodded. Energy cannot be destroyed, Commander Vexterra. It can only be transformed. That's the secret we discovered before our long sleep. The Void Cascade isn't a natural disaster. It's a harvest. Some entity has been using it to consume civilizations, taking their combined energy for itself. We learned to turn that process around. As if to demonstrate her point, the human fleet suddenly aligned into a perfect sphere. The crystalline structures on their hulls resonated in harmony, creating a web of light that encompassed the approaching darkness. All ships, initiate Protocol Phoenix, Sarah commanded. The effect was immediate and stunning. Where the web of light touched the void, it didn't just push it back, it transformed it into pure energy. The darkness was being converted into a cascade of light that flowed back into the human vessels. This is why we waited, Sarah explained, her voice carrying centuries of vindication. We knew fighting the void directly was impossible, so we evolved into beings that could transform it instead. Every human you see, every ship in this fleet, is a quantum converter. We don't just resist the darkness, we remake it. Vexterra watched in awe as the human fleet continued their impossible task. The Void Cascade, terror of the galaxy, was being systematically transformed into pure energy. But she noticed something else too. The human ships were changing as they worked, their forms becoming more crystalline, more ethereal. "Admiral," she asked, "what are you becoming?" Sarah smiled, her form now almost translucent with flowing energy. "What we always were, Commander, adaptable." Humanity's greatest strength wasn't our technology or our weapons. It was our ability to change, to become what we needed to be. We're not just fighting the Void Cascade. We're ascending beyond it. The battle continued, but it was no longer a battle in any traditional sense. It was a transformation, a metamorphosis on a cosmic scale. The human fleet, dismissed for centuries as abandoned relics, was revealing itself to be something far more profound, the next step in conscious evolution. "The galaxy mocked our primitive ships," Sarah said, her voice now carrying harmonics that made Vexterra's scales resonate. "They never understood that true advancement isn't about building bigger weapons. It's about becoming something new entirely." As the last of the Void Cascade was transformed, the human fleet began to pulse with accumulated energy. Their crystalline forms now contained the power of the converted darkness itself. Humanity hadn't just survived. They had turned their greatest threat into their greatest transformation. The sleeping giants had awakened, and they were more than anyone could have imagined. The crystalline fleet hung in space like a constellation of artificial stars, each vessel radiating with the transformed energy of the Void Cascade. Commander Vexterra's scientific mind struggled to process the implications of what she'd witnessed. The humans hadn't just survived their long sleep. They'd used it to transcend the very boundaries of what her people considered possible. "Admiral Chen," she asked, "what happens now?" Sarah's form had stabilized somewhat, though she still seemed to shimmer with internal light. "Now, Commander, we prepare for the real fight. The Void Cascade was just a tool. Its master will have felt its failure, and it will come." As if summoned by her words, the ship's sensors detected a massive disturbance at the edge of the system. Space itself began to twist, forming what looked like a massive tear in reality. "The Harbinger," Sarah said quietly. "The entity we discovered 3 centuries ago. It's been consuming galaxies for longer than our civilizations have existed." The Void Cascade was just its way of softening up its prey. The tear in space expanded, revealing something that defied description. It was as if a piece of the universe had become conscious and hungry. Tentacles of dark energy reached out, each one large enough to engulf a planet. "This is why we need the Concordat." Sarah turned to Vexterra. "We can transform the void, but we can't be everywhere at once. Your people have something we lack: presence across the galaxy. We need to teach you our methods, quickly." Vexterra's scales shifted to the deep blue of decision. "How can we help?" The next hours were a blur of activity. The human fleet transmitted quantum conversion protocols to the Concordat vessel, while Sarah's enhanced crew worked directly with Vexterra's team. The humans' transformed bodies allowed them to interface directly with the Concordat's technology, upgrading it with their centuries of advancement. "Your ship's energy matrices are actually perfect for quantum conversion," Sarah explained as she helped modify the Truth Seeker's systems. "You just never knew to look for the possibility." Sometimes the best technology isn't about creating something new, but about seeing new potential in what you already have. The Harbinger's presence grew stronger, its dark energy tentacles prodding the space around them. But now, the Concordat ship's hull began to shimmer with the same crystalline patterns as the human vessels. "All ships, prepare for synchronized conversion," Sarah commanded. "Commander Vexterra, are you ready to make history?" Vexterra looked at her crew, now linked to quantum interfaces that blurred the line between organic and digital. "We're ready, Admiral. The Concordat has spent centuries studying humanity's relics. It's time we helped write their next chapter." The combined fleet moved into formation, human and concordat ships interweaved in a complex geometric pattern. As the Harbinger approached, Sarah explained the true nature of their strategy. Every species in the galaxy has something unique to offer, she said. Humans are adaptable. Your people are natural harmonizers. Apart, we're vulnerable. Together, the Harbinger struck, its dark energy tentacles reaching for the fleet. But where they touched, they found not prey but transformation. Human quantum conversion technology, amplified by concordat harmonic matrices, began to change the very essence of the cosmic horror. It's not about fighting. Sarah's voice resonated through both human and alien minds. It's about transformation. That's what the Harbinger never understood. It consumed civilizations because it thought diversity was weakness. We're about to show it why it was wrong. The battle that followed defied conventional description. Human and concordat ships moved as one, their combined technologies creating patterns of light that rewrote the fundamental laws of space around them. The Harbinger's dark energy was met with quantum conversion fields that transformed its power into pure creation. As the entity reeled from this unprecedented resistance, Sarah revealed humanity's final secret. We didn't sleep for 3 centuries just to fight back, she explained. We slept to dream, to imagine what could be instead of what was. And now we're going to share that dream with the galaxy. The human fleet began to pulse with a new kind of energy, not just converted void, but something entirely new. It was the power of conscious evolution, of deliberate transformation. And now they were offering it to their allies. Commander, Sarah turned to Vextera, her form now a perfect blend of human and energy being. Would you like to see what we dreamed of? As the Harbinger arrived in space before them, about to face the combined might of 2 civilizations it had underestimated, Vextera's scales shifted to a color she had never displayed before, the iridescent hue of transcendence. The sleeping giants were awake, and they had brought gifts for the galaxy. The combined fleet faced the Harbinger in the void of space, a dazzling array of crystalline vessels, pulsing with transformed energy. What had begun as a story of abandoned warships had become something far more profound, the birth of a new form of existence. The Harbinger's dark tendrils recoiled from the fleet's quantum conversion fields, its ancient consciousness experiencing something new for the first time in eons. Uncertainty. For billions of years, it had consumed civilizations, seeing diversity as a weakness to be harvested. Now that same diversity had become a weapon against it. What you feel now, Sarah's voice resonated across space itself, addressing the cosmic entity directly, is the power of conscious evolution. You consumed galaxies because you couldn't imagine another way. We're here to show you what you missed. The human fleet's crystalline structures began to pulse with a new pattern, one that made Vextera's scientific instruments spark with overload. The energy they had converted from the void cascade wasn't just being stored, it was being reshaped into something entirely new. This was always our true purpose, Sarah explained to her concordat allies. Not to fight, not to destroy, but to transform every civilization you consumed. She directed at the Harbinger, added to your power, but diminished your potential. We're going to undo that mistake. The human ships shifted formation, creating a vast geometric pattern that seemed to echo the fundamental structure of space-time itself. The concordat vessels, guided by their newly upgraded systems, moved in perfect harmony with them. Now, Sarah commanded, initiate final protocol. Genesis. What followed defied the understanding of even the most advanced concordat scientists. The combined fleet began to emit waves of energy that didn't just affect physical space. They transformed the very nature of reality around them. The Harbinger, for the first time in its ancient existence, found itself not consuming, but being reshaped. You were born in the first moments of this universe, Sarah addressed the entity, her form now more energy than matter. You've lived so long that you forgot what it means to change, to grow. Let us remind you. The transformed void energy stored within the human fleet poured out in carefully controlled streams, guided by concordat harmonic mathematics. Where it touched the Harbinger's dark tendrils, it didn't destroy them, it rewrote them at the quantum level. Commander Vexterra, Sarah turned to her ally. Would you do us the honor? Show us how your people's understanding of cosmic harmony can guide this transformation. Vexterra's scales shimmered with newfound power as she directed her ship's enhanced systems. The Concordat's natural gift for harmony, combined with human quantum manipulation, created something neither civilization could have achieved alone. The Harbinger's vast form began to change. Its consuming darkness transformed into streams of creative energy. What had been a force of destruction became a fountain of possibility. This is what we dreamed of during our long sleep, Sarah revealed, her voice carrying the weight of centuries. Not victory through destruction, but transformation through understanding. The galaxy doesn't need a predator at its heart. It needs a gardener. The process reached its crescendo as the last of the Harbinger's ancient form was transformed. Where a cosmic horror had once existed, there now pulsed a beam of pure creative energy. The force that had consumed galaxies had become one that could seed them with new life, new possibilities. 3 centuries ago, Sarah addressed both her fleet and their concordat allies. Humanity faced a choice. We could fight and die, or sleep and dream of a better way. We chose to dream. But dreams mean nothing without the will to make them real, and allies to share them with. The transformed Harbinger, now a creature of light rather than darkness, began to pulse with new purpose. Where its void cascade had once devoured, it now created. Seeds of possibility scattered across space, carrying the combined wisdom of humanity's quantum evolution and the Concordat's harmonic understanding. Commander Vexterra watched in awe as new stars began to form in the wake of the entity's passage. What happens now, Admiral? Sarah smiled, her form settling into a stable state between human and energy being. Now, Commander, we build something new. Humanity didn't hide away in those ships because we were afraid. We did it because we saw a possibility that required patience to achieve. The galaxy once mocked our abandoned warships. Now those same ships have given birth to a new age of creation. The combined fleet hung in space, their crystalline forms glowing with possibility. They had not just saved the galaxy, they had transformed it. The sleeping giants had awakened not to wage war, but to bring enlightenment. And in the vast distances between stars, new life began to bloom, carrying within it the seeds of both human adaptability and concordat harmony. The legacy of the Silent Fleet would echo through eternity, not as weapons of war, but as catalysts of creation. The story of humanity's disappearance was finally complete. They had not retreated in fear, but advanced in wisdom. And in doing so, they had transformed not just themselves, but the very nature of existence itself.